left is Armando Rivera. He is a director, actor, historian, and the artistic director of Teatro Chelsea. Currently, he is working on elevating fresh Latinx narratives that showcase the bilingual experience and which connect with diverse audiences. As a director, Armando has worked on productions such as Face with the Kitchen Theater Company and revitalized El Camino de Cuentos Oscuros and Sonia Se Fue, all with Teatro Chelsea. Working during the community night is JJ Hernández. And founding member of Teatro Chelsea. Since beginning acting in middle school and a drag adaptation of Little Women, he has performed with companies like Huntington Theater, Gloucester Stage, and Lyric Stage Company of Boston, as well as TV and film appearances in Power Book 2, Ghost, and SWAT.
Episodes haven't come out yet.
As a founding member of Teatro Chelsea, Jaime works to celebrate Latin culture, aid local talent, and build community strength through arts engagement. Woo! We went over during the little speech after the show a little bit of what Teatro Chelsea does, but I do want to ask, who is Teatro Chelsea? For those who might not know as much of the deep, what Teatro Chelsea puts on, who is Teatro Chelsea?
Yeah, who is Teatro Chelsea? It's a lot of the people that I see in the audience right now, people that I've worked with. It's the community that we build. Teatro Chelsea, like I said, is a bilingual theater focused on creating community-based work, particularly in the city of Chelsea. And we focus on new work right now, but I think more than anything is that we're striving to create a space for Latino artists to thrive in their work. And that's what we've been doing for the past 4 years, giving opportunities where none have existed before, getting people jobs, being that connector. But I think what surprised me most is that, while we do theater, we do our new play, we have a regular new play festival where we're going to be going into our 5th new play festival at the end of the year, where we take in submissions from Latino artists across the country and then offer a world premiere production for one of those playwrights. But we also have started to create spaces like this one, create opportunities for members of the community, of our community in Chelsea, of Latinos around the area, to know that spaces like these and traditional theater spaces where they have not been the majority, that their stories are valued, that they're worth being on stage, and that they have a reason to be in the audience, whatever way they want to be in the audience. That our way of communicating and the way that we celebrate and that we cheer and the way that we cry and that we react is just as valid and probably even more valuable to the experience of going to theater. And that's what we've been working on for the past 4 years, along with, the Who. There's people like Jaime, Mariela, Amber, Elisa, Yaritza, oh my God, Luz, oh my God, oh my God, Liz, Nathy, oh my God, there's even more people, and it's you guys. I see you all in the room, and I've seen them all tonight, and every day, every time we do a teatro event, I see people that I recognize in the audience. That's community, and that's what we've been doing. That's what we do, is that we just bring that space together, and we follow up on that every time.
You say it's 4 years old. Did you see that what was the sort of gap in the theater community in Boston that you as maybe a founding member of Teatro Chelsea, that you saw that needed to come together to create Teatro? What is the founding of Teatro Chelsea?
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of gaps. I started watching theater in Boston in 2018, and I feel like the only show that I ever remembered around that time that I super excited about seeing. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can see myself in a lot of other stories on stage. Was Quijote Nuevo, which starred Mariela Lopez Pons, actually. At the Huntington Theater. And I remember, like, I never, talking about like toxic masculinity, like I never cried in any movies growing up. I never like cried in any shows, but there was a monologue of an El Salvadorian character in that show, and I had never seen like an El Salvadorian character. Obviously, I'm El Salvadorian, and you know, I know people in my life that relate to the story of the monologue. So, you know, having such a thirst for that and then feeling it was such a gratifying thing, and it was just this need for community. Because I know that there's so much talent and there's so much artists out there, whether it's in Boston or in Chelsea, but we just didn't have a place to convene, to make art, to lift each other up, to make our stories heard. So that was probably the biggest need and why Teatro Chelsea was made.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it being rooted in Chelsea. What made you solidify Teatro Chelsea's name with Chelsea? What is the history there?
Well, I'm born and raised in Chelsea, Mass. I'd say like in the metropolitan Boston area, you know, there's other neighborhoods, Hyde Park and Jamaica Plain, that also have high Latin populations, but Chelsea has a very high Latin population. It's a pretty much bilingual town, a lot of Central Americans. How many people are here from Chelsea?
There we go.
There we go, yeah. We currently, our parent company, Apollinaire Theater Company, is also based in Chelsea, and they started doing bilingual theater, you know, 20 plus years ago, doing it in the park. So to follow up on that, we kind of, with our parent company, Apollinaire, created Teatro Chelsea in 2020 with the Mass Development Grant. It was a 3-year grant, and then 2 years later, after we got a 6-year grant from the Bar Foundation. So that's going to keep us going for a while. And growing up in Chelsea, myself, and knowing that really only the theatrical resources there were, yes, there was Apollinaire Theater, but growing up, the building had always felt, you know, very foreign. I never saw anybody who kind of, none of my friends, none of my family, even though I have so much family who's lived in Chelsea for decades, nobody ever walked into the building to see, you know, a show. So we wanted to change that for the people who lived in Chelsea. You know, why can't going to theater for the sake of it become a natural thing and something that you feel welcomed going into? And the ways to do that is, you know, by making them feel you're welcome, by inviting them, building community in spaces. And I feel like the biggest thing, and like one of the biggest fears I have, is how much people before Teatro Chelsea was made, and even though Teatro Chelsea is made, how much people could not achieve or could not pursue what they wanted to, not because they didn't have the potential or they didn't have the drive, but just because they didn't have the resources in their community to continue going forward. So we hope to bridge that gap and to hopefully never have that happen.
How do you do outreach in Chelsea and to the greater Boston area to get people who might feel excluded from the theater to come to the space that you're creating?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been like being a real member of the community. I moved to Boston 8 years ago, and me and my partner, we originally started like in the Fenway area. But I remember when I first came to Chelsea, like a year into being in Boston, and I realized I hadn't spoken Spanish in like a year. And I went to go get a job. I started out, you know, things turned out to be kind of prophetic, because my first job in Chelsea was at the Apollinaire doing a bilingual production of Hamlet. And I was like, man, you know, who would have thought that would be like basically the rest of like 4 years of my life and X amount more. But I remember how impactful that was, and that was my experience being in Chelsea. Like I was surrounded by people who speak Spanish, who like speak to me in Spanish without having to ask. It happens every day when I walk in. I went to Rincón Hondureño today, and they were like, "Hola muchacho, ¿qué quieres?" And I was like, they knew, they just know, and like that's an inherent part of myself that I've rarely had the chance to activate. But to get closer to the answer is that like I have to be part of the community, and like when I committed to working and being part of Teatro Chelsea, my partner, she graciously said, "Do you want to move to Chelsea?" And I said, "Yeah." And we live in Chelsea. I take the 111, I take the 116, 117. I walk the same streets, I go to the same stores. I know what, I'm becoming a member of the community. And more on top of that, I also work for an organization called La Colaborativa, which is represented here this evening. And La Colaborativa, like they are the most, I give them the respect that they're due because they do the human services work. They're a nonprofit that have the trust of the Latino community because there are people that have bled, there are people that have done sweat and tears for their community, and I've joined that organization. I split my time with Teatro Chelsea doing, I'm in charge of arts and culture programming for the youth department, and I have a team of 15 youth that are my employees that I teach professional skills in theater who are here. And I think that's it. Like, the answer to that question is that like I've seen how powerful it is to just be in the theater, to be in this space, to get those VIP seats, to be a VIP member, so that you don't feel foreign in this space. Because it took a long time for me to feel like I was part of these spaces. And I know how important it is. It still is important to me because I don't want to make it sound like it's fake or anything, but it's genuine. It matters to me a lot. It feels really different to perform when I know the audience really knows what I'm saying. When they know the experience that we're talking about. And I value all the audiences, but it's something special. And it makes a difference. It makes me go, this is why I do it. This is what I do. It's giving me purpose as an artist. But that's how I think it's a genuine connection. I really do believe that every single one of those 14 youth that are there are either going to be artists themselves on stage, or they're going to be the people that are paying and being donors and patrons. They're my future patrons that I need to be serving. And I mean that sincerely, but that has to happen now. That's a 20-year commitment. And I believe that. The Tobin Bridge, it's such a symbol of Chelsea, but like bridging the gap between Boston and the city of Chelsea. I mean, how many times do you leave Chelsea often? Do you leave Chelsea a lot?
No. Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. But it's a trip every time, and I want to make sure that they know that, that again, that we can go on these trips, that we can leave Chelsea, that we can be more than, that Chelsea's more than the reputation that it has. Yeah. That it's a beautiful community. That in addition to being an immigrant community, it's where great art is made. And that when people hear the name Chelsea, if they hear that if it's in the respect of Teatro Chelsea, that they go, well, then it's got to be a good show. And I want that to be a seal of quality as well. The Latino theater is good theater. It's great theater. It's special theater. But that's how we keep it. I'm sincere in the work, and I'm based in that work. And even if we're partnering with an organization in Cambridge, we bring Chelsea here, because that's where that community is where I'm focusing my work. It's got to start small, and it's going to have a big impact one day. So, yeah.
Since starting
I'm feeling the flowers.
Since starting Teatro Chelsea, have you seen what you are looking for, and what work do you see still needs to be done?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the community is a lot bigger, for sure. Like, I remember Armando and I used to talk about, like, casting our New Works Festival, which, we tend to cast like 20 plus actors. And like before it was like, oh my God, who are we gonna cast all these roles for? Is this like we got to double cast, triple cast, and now it's like we know so much actors and incredibly talented people. We can cast 1 million people, and we have all the lighting designers. And I think more companies are looking to cast those people. You know how many times me and Armando get emails like, we're looking to hire this, thing. We have 1 million people, and we're happy to, if that gets them employment, then we're succeeding in bridging the gap. In terms of work that still needs to be done, I think more events like this still would need to be done.
And changing I've said it, like, nights like this Latino Pride Night, is like changing the context of going to theater. That's the work that still needs to be done. I think that, I don't think it's just a Latino thing. I think everyone would love if every time you went to theater it really felt like an event.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's an investment. Yes. It's not, hey, look, it wasn't cheap to do this, but it was worth every penny because I felt the difference in tonight's performance. I felt it. And I think like more theaters should look into how to make or at least make more nights feel like an event. It's okay if in the moment the play is kind of the side play. It's okay. It's a challenge to the play itself, to the production, to meet the expectation that the food, the dancing, the music, it set the bar. It's our job to keep raising the bar. We should be able to that because that's how we do it. Is that we have to make an event that's holistic, and I want to see more theaters and productions doing that. I think because we've seen the fruits of that. Every time we do a Latino Pride Night, like we have fun, and I want to see more people doing that.
Thing. How many people felt like they were at a party like a quinceañera?
Oh yeah.
They got there, I heard.
And I do want to open this up if anyone has any questions. I know a lot of people are from Chelsea or Teatro Chelsea themselves, but if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask. Yes.
Not so much a question, but a comment. First of all, fantastic show. I love it. I'm not listening to Owen Close. I'm from Suriname, South America. But I didn't know coming here tonight that there was this Latin Pride thing. I didn't know anything about it. So I think we could use more advertising and promotion so that people in Cambridge, because we have a lot of Latino people and Caribbean people in Cambridge who would enjoy that. I don't know why I didn't know, but when I went on the website, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I bought my ticket and I came to see the play. And I said,
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope there's a grant that we can have it for every performance.
Yeah. That's the goal is to expand the reach. So that's a great point. We want to do more. We'll expand our reach.
Curious, was there any conversation behind that? I know, like comparing to when I hear discussions about the show that Teatro Chelsea does, insisting on that the bilingualism in the dialogue, so that I remember hearing you say once, want anyone who comes in from the community to be able to understand what's going on stage, or at least enjoy some part of the show, without the language barrier between them. So I was curious if there was a conversation about adapting that aspect of this show in this space.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that there definitely was. I mean, that there was. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm like, no super titles. Let them squirm. But I think that's part of partnerships. I think that like understanding that level of, we want to have people understand, and that we're also, that part of a partnership is to be a guest in the space, and there's easing multiple communities into that. I hope that there's bravery that's built. I have no problem with super titles in this production. I think it's necessary too. And then I think there was, I think there's, I think I have a thing about like super titles for a whole show. And I want to be very clear. I wasn't like super involved. I wasn't like decider in these conversations. I know that like JJ and I had contributions and opinions to that, but that was ultimately Francisco and Gabe, the director, Francisco the playwright, and Gabe's decision about how they wanted to approach this. But every day in the room, we were always asking questions. I was very pointed about asking questions like, why this or why? I was always very curious about like Jorge, my character's own relationship with Spanish, because he was always very tactical about it. He only speaks Spanish twice in the show, and I'm like, man, that's a really distinct type of immigrant experience. And having those discussions and learning from Francisco's own experience, Gabe's own experience was really helpful. How we approached that and how the production approached that. I think it's really cool how they did it in this one.
I want to finish up maybe this last question, if you can answer it, which is what is coming up next for Teatro Chelsea?
Ooh.
Just sent an email to the guys through her.
Yeah. So I think I want to speak on concrete things. The team is growing. I'm proud to say, I think this is going to be the first time I announce it, that I am no longer going to be alone as artistic director of Teatro Chelsea. We're going to have a co-artistic director in Mariana Lopez. And I'm really excited about that, about the team growing, because, like I said, my job right now is I'm very invested in my community. I'm invested in the work that I'm doing with La Colaborativa. I'm not going anywhere. But that limits the work that I can do, and that shouldn't limit Teatro Chelsea. And so what that means is that we're going to be doubling our input, our output. We're going to do more stuff, maybe do more published work, maybe do more solely Spanish work. We have some irons in the fire. Is that the right one? Is that the right phrase? I can say what I'm, very excited about working on. What things that I know are coming. We had Atípico at the end of last year, our new play festival. So we have a world premiere coming. It's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit later, actually, because we're actually going to develop. We're going to spend more time in development with the play. I can't tell you what the play is yet. We're still in negotiations. But that's coming near the end of the year. We have another Atípico festival at the end of the year. I'm directing a production of The Hombres at Gloucester Stage, which is a labor of love for me and JJ to get that show going. But while it is not, nothing is certain right now. I've tried, somehow Teatro Chelsea seems to follow the when I'm doing work, and I want to see. We're in talks to see if we can have a partnership that is similar to what we've gotten here at Central Square, because that's what that is a goal of the future. What is the future of Teatro Chelsea? Our work gets better in Chelsea, and people start seeing our work outside of Chelsea through partnerships like with Central Square and with hopefully other theaters in the Boston area as well. That's all we can speak to right now. But I'm excited about the growth of the team. I really am excited that I now have a partner to create work with. I'm excited to see the work that Mariela is going to bring to the table, and that's up to her to decide. But I'm all game for that. But we're doubling the output. That's expect double, more Latina nights at different places, more gatherings. We're in talks with Latinx Theater Commons as well, so we don't even know the amount of events that we're going to be planning, but there's going to be no shortage, and we're going to make sure that you hear about it.
They're up next.
Yeah, you guys.
All for coming tonight. I know it's been a very long day, but thank you.
Thank you guys.
Nice to meet you.